President Obama is sending 450 more troops to Iraq, calling them advisors, helping train Iraqi forces in fighting ISIS. Here's a question for our guest. What exactly will these advisors actually be doing? Former Army Special Forces officer is Jim Hansen, and he joins us from D.C. Jim, there is a suspicion that they're not just advisors, they are forward observers, pointing the way where our bombs should fall. Any truth to that suspicion?
Stuart, if that's true, it would be fantastic. Unfortunately, as things stand, that doesn't seem to be the case. The mission thus far is for these people to be doing training, still stuck on the bases and unable to actually deploy on combat missions with the Iraqis. They need to be able to get off the base, provide command and control, and as you mentioned, do some fire support coordination so we can beat ISIS on the ground.
Now, I've seen it written in the newspapers and wherever that this is the return to Iraq. 3,000 American troops back in Iraq. Now, if you're telling me that they're confined to base and they can't go anywhere near a combat zone, that is hardly a return to Iraq.
You know, anybody who's saying that is not paying attention to what President Obama is saying. He is stuck in this mindset that somehow we can defeat these people without actually deploying out and helping the Iraqis. The Iraqi army is not capable of doing this. And the problem is because we're not helping them, the Iranians are. And that's a real danger. The Iranians are Shia, they're deploying Shia militias, and they're going into Sunni areas, and there are going to be sectarian atrocities. That's a problem for the larger area.
It sounds like the idea of going in and trying to train the Iraqi army is just a lost cause. It sounds like you're saying precisely that, are you?
I wouldn't say it's a lost cause, and I'm not going to call 450 Americans deploying anywhere a token gesture, but this is President Obama reacting to the rhetorical fire he's getting over his failed strategy and over admitting that he doesn't have a strategy. The military's given him a strategy and options. He just does not want to use them. We don't have to roll tanks from Baghdad to Damascus, but we do need to actually act like we want to win if we expect that to happen.
So that means what? You're an army guy, special forces guy. You know what's going on here. What would it take to win? I mean, to really just confront ISIS and beat them, some prisoners, show some white flags, marching away with their hands in the air. Now, what would that take? Now, let me just go on for a second. We've had Colonel Alan West on this program, knows a thing or two about being in the armed forces. He says 10,000 troops would do it. Control them, stop them, take some prisoners, see them in defeat. Would it?
I think it would depend on what troops and where. The one good thing Obama is doing is sending these troops into the Sunni areas to train Sunni to fight against ISIS. The Sunni tribes know who the bad guys are. I would deploy a lot of special forces to embed with the Iraqi units, with the Sunni units, and fight and root ISIS out where they live. If you do that and provide legitimate air support, and it may be somewhere in the vicinity of 10,000 troops, we could actually beat them. That's what it's going to take, and he hasn't committed to that or anything like it yet.
If it was you, if you were going back in there in that kind of role, guns fired in anger by you, you'd watch your back, wouldn't you? I mean, can you trust your so-called Iraqi allies?
It would be a problem. We've had the same problem in Afghanistan with the green on blue incidents where we're training people and we have trouble vetting them. That's a danger we're aware of. It doesn't mean we shouldn't take it. If we're going to allow the caliphate, the Islamic State, to exist where we defeated it not too long ago, we lose credibility all over the world. The black flag needs to come down, and we need to do what's necessary to make that happen, whatever the risk.
Okay. Jim Hansen, Army Special Forces guy, thanks very much for joining us, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Pleasure, Stuart.
Sir.